Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another counter side video. Alright, today's video we're going to talk about dupes and what ideally you want to do with it. So first things first, there's a global coupon code if you guys are not aware. Let me see if I can insert it and show you guys what is the coupon code. I'll try to paste it in the description somewhere or in the pinned comment as well. Go to manage account, enter coupon, and this is the coupon code CSGBLDL100K. So hopefully you guys can use this coupon code, and this will give you apparently 10,000 Ethereum, you get 500 quartz and 10 SAPT cores, which are pretty valuable actually. So yeah, let's jump into today's video. Now, one of the most commonly asked questions that I have being asked a lot is this particular question right here. And what is the use of duplicate characters? Alright, something that I do see. This is something that players have been asking time and time again. So some people, they have two of the same characters for SSR or SR, and then there are some responses to this particular question. A lot of veteran players, or maybe like some of them are returning players, they play Counter-Strike C for a short while, so they tell people to salvage for Fusion Core or use them as fodder to level up past 110. Now this ideally is not, I wouldn't say this advice is wrong, it's just an outdated advice. So if you have been playing in Counter-Strike C, right, you will know that recently we got Rearm, and Rearm is very expensive because you need a lot of resource right there. So you ideally shouldn't do that. I would say if you can, keep your SSR and possibly some SR as well. Now basically the short answer is, what do you do with your duplicates? I would say keep them. Do not discard them, do not sacrifice them for materials. Now I'm going to explain why in detail. So let's jump into Counter-Strike C and hopefully explain to you guys the process along the way. If you are to... Now first things first, there are multiple characters. You need to know the difference. There are two types of SSR or SR generally, right? Because you guys know that some SSR can be farmed and some can be obtained from pool. Right, so for example right here, as you can see, I have some with contract obtain. So this one basically I obtained from pools, right? So this one but there are some like this one, the stronghold or the orca, I didn't obtain them from pools. Now both of these you should keep, doesn't matter, as long as it's SSR, preferably some SR as well, you should ideally keep them. If you notice, those that do not have contract obtain, meaning you didn't pull for them, you farm from them in the story stages or the side stories. So this one, it only gives you business card, ownerless business card right here. But those with contract obtain, when you sacrifice them, they give you 2 fusion cores. It seems like a lot, 2 fusion cores. I don't think this is something that is worth salvaging SSR units for compared to getting the Rearm materials, which I'm going to do the comparison for you guys later. 2 fusion cores is just not worth it. It's so minimal. Now what are fusion cores? Fusion cores are needed for your character to level up past level 100. So once your character reach level 100, they can get up to level 110, which is the maximum, right? Now for your character to get from level 100 to level 102, alright, every 2 levels you're gonna need 15 fusion core, which is a lot. As you can see, you can go to the limit break and you are going to consume 15 fusion cores. So in total, to get one character from level 100 to maximum of level 110, that's 15 times 5, which is 75 fusion cores. Because, like I mentioned, every 15 fusion cores are going to give you 2 levels, right? So you can also do this. Again, I don't advise you to do this. You can go to your limit break right here. You can see there are some options to choose them as dupes, right? Now each of these selection will save you 5 fusion core. For example, right now, if I were to try to level her up, my Shinja from 102 to 104, right? It's going to consume 15 fusion cores. But if I use one, that will reduce it by 5, right? So each of them are equivalent to 5 fusion cores compared to you sacrificing them, which are 2 fusion cores. Now regardless, you shouldn't do either one of these, alright? So global is pretty rushed right now. If you guys are not aware, if you look at the roadmap, you can see that global's roadmap right now, a lot of things are kind of being skipped, and we are kind of fast forwarding in terms of the speed. Alright, global will be the fastest server alive. Now it's just going to be a matter of time before global starts getting rearmed. Now a lot of players, they already make this mistake on C server. Like trust me, I've seen them before. They do not have enough materials for the rearm. So what is a rearm? Alright, so if you guys haven't watched my rearm guide, I'm going to try to briefly explain it here again. Rearm is basically a feature that will be introduced later. So a lot of characters will basically get reworked in the rearm. So they have an ability to be stronger. Basically, it's like a new layer of power up for some of the SSR or SR characters. For example, Irie rearm. As you can see, what they do get is they also get one more additional skill. Now you can see most characters, like for example, Orca right here, you can see she will only have one basic skill, one passive skill, one special skill, and one ultimate skill. But rearm units, basically they have one additional skill called the leader skill. Now leader meaning that if you set them as leader, they will be able to have the additional skill, and also it increase their rarity as well. For example, Irie, generally she's an R character, R rarity and 2 cost unit, but if you rearm her, she becomes 3 cost and she becomes an SR. Now for SR characters, they also become SSR. For example, Laura Beatrix right here, she's normally an SR character, but if you rearm her, she becomes an SSR, right? So as you can see, rearm characters are like one layer above, they get stronger. Now a lot of rearm characters are quite broken. Early on, you're gonna regret if you don't prepare for the rearm materials, because like for example, rearm Xiaolin and rearm Esterosa, they are really strong. A lot of C players, what they do is they go and do this. They actually went and do this, right? They go and salvage for fusion core and they go and use their folder for level up. So that way they do not have any more SSR materials to use them afterwards, and they do not have the materials to build the rearm units. And rearm units are so broken, you can ask anyone. They are probably the best characters, on par with awaken units, even stronger than awaken units because they have less cost. Like rearm Esterosa is, in my opinion, better than an awaken Yumina, because awaken Yumina is a 6 cost steal and she is a 4 cost. You guys won't have this yet, but on C server we already have this. So under here you can see to rearm a character, right? So rearming a character is quite expensive because of this thing right here. These things are called the prime rearmament data. As you can see, there's a golden one and there's a purple one, right? Depending on how you look at it, for SR characters, it's going to consume this one, which is the purple looking ones. Rearmament data is the SR variant and the prime rearmament data is the SSR variant. Now, how do you get these things? As I've said earlier, to get these things, you need SSR dupes. Alright, there's no other way. You have to go to the data transmission room. So now let me show you guys, this is where it gets super expensive, and you might think that this is a whale feature. It feels like a whale feature if you don't prepare for it, but if you prepare for it and you don't do anything with your dupes right now, just keep them in your inventory. I know it's annoying for them to be in your inventory. You have 2 same characters, it's annoying to look at, but trust me, it's worth in the long run. Alright, just bear with me, alright? Now let me show you guys. If I were to sacrifice my character, as you can see, boom, 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 boom. Now you can see, I will need to sacrifice my SSR to get me 100, alright, prime rearmament data. Notice this only if I use the contract obtained units, right? Contract obtained units are units that you only get from pools, okay? So meaning that units that you get from pools are going to be very valuable. So ideally you want to keep them. If I use the non-contract obtained unit, for example this one, that you can farm from the side story, look, suddenly you only get 10, right? So especially those that you get from pools, those are going to be much more valuable, and you need 80 to rearm a character. Now if you guys are not aware, in the side story, yes, you can farm some of these daily. So for example, Orca side story, you can actually farm for her shards. Obviously you can get about 3 shards a day on average. Now some of you guys are going to come to me and ask, okay, how do I level up my characters to 110 then? Because I need fusion cores, and if I don't do this, I don't have fusion cores, etc, right? So the idea here is, if you are free to play, you don't simply just 110 everyone. Alright, you only prioritize on awaken units generally because they tend to be stronger and they have more value in return. You gotta be smart with your fusion cores. Ideally, you only 110 the characters that have rearm. Those are definitely going to be worth it because your characters need to be 110 to be able to rearm. If your character is level 100, you cannot rearm them. Now the value of rearmament data is going to be much more valuable than fusion core. If you don't believe me, let me show you guys. Let me go to the free to play shop right here. There's a chance for Fusion Core to appear right here in the daily refresh shop. And you can see right here in the convenience goods, you can somehow buy Fusion Core. You can see Fusion Core, Fusion Core. I wouldn't buy this if you're free to play. And you can see in the Planet Mall, there's Fusion Core. But again, you shouldn't buy. You should ideally buy the operators, the consortium, what's that shop? You can also buy Fusion Core, I think once per week. The only place you can actually get rearmament data is in the business card. And guess what? You can only buy 6 per month. There's no way for you to buy these things. You have to keep your dupes for them if you want to try to rearm the data. And you need 80. You need 80 of these, 6 per month. Fusion Core, you can buy 5 per week. The only place to get rearmament data is right here actually. Even if you're pay to win, you're the richest man on planet, you're Bill Gates, guess what? Go to the shop, there's no package that sells rearmament data. You can buy all the admin coins you want, you can convert them to Fusion Cores, your admin coins to Fusion Cores, but there's no way to whale for rearmament data. The only way to whale for rearmament data is you go and pull a bunch of characters, a bunch of dupes to sacrifice for them. Now right now, my advice for global players, save all your SSR dupes, and for SR, it's going to depend. Now, for SR are going to be much easier to obtain. So you're going to pull SR easier. So therefore, I think sacrificing them is not too bad. But you would want to keep in mind some SRs that can be farmed and some SRs that cannot be farmed. You can go to the talent recruitment right here. You can check out a lot of these characters, a lot of these SR. If you sacrifice them, they can be farmed somewhat. But there are some that cannot be farmed. For example, Laura Beatrix, Eugene, Admin Shieldman, Admin Rifleman, these characters cannot be farmed, right? But of course, Admin Shieldman and Rifleman do not have rearm yet. We already know Laura Beatrix, and we already know that Eugene both has rearm. So you want to consider keeping their dupes because those two characters cannot be farmed, and the only way to get them is from pulls. And guess what? I'm struggling until today. I'm struggling to get my Laura Beatrix skill to max level because I still haven't maxed this skill. And yes, you're gonna need some of the unit data to sacrifice as well. You do this, you will regret later, just like how many of the C players that have regretted it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I know it's a long-winded video, but I think explaining the reason of why you want to keep them is also quite crucial because a lot of people generally tend to just believe advice and they don't question the advice, they don't ask why. Sometimes I think knowing why is part of the process of learning. Alright, so with that being said, subscribe if you haven't already, give this video a like, and I'm gonna make more guides, hopefully for gears next. Let me know what kind of video would you guys want to see next. As always, have a nice day. Goodbye.